It's time to talk business. The World Bank says many extremely poor people in the world are in Nigeria and Congo. In its latest 2022 Poverty and Prosperity Report, the financial institution, however, notes that despite having a large share of global extreme poor residents, Nigeria and Congo contributed less to increase in extreme poverty as the economic shocks triggered by the COVID-19 pandemic was mild in both countries. It notes that while Congo contributed 500,000 people, Nigeria contributed 3 million people to global extreme poverty. But the World Bank had also warned earlier that many non-poor Nigerians were only one small shock away from falling into poverty. Ahead of the presentation of the 2023 budget proposal by President Muhammadu Buhari on Friday, that's tomorrow, the Senate has approved the 2023-2025 medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper. The Senate gave the approval following the consideration of the report of its Joint Committee on Finance and National Planning on the 2023-2025 medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper, which President Buhari recently proposed to the National Assembly. The Senate also approved 3.6 trillion naira as subsidy on petroleum products for 2023. Other parameters approved include projected new borrowings of 8.437 trillion naira, including foreign and domestic borrowings, subject to the approval of the provisions of details of the borrowing plan by the National Assembly. Now, with multiple exchange rate windows and a huge disparity between the official and black market rates, reports are beginning to suggest that Nigerians are fast losing faith in the management of the forex market. The exchange rate between the naira and dollar fell to as low as 735 naira to $1 last week, shortly after the Central Bank of Nigeria announced a hike in interest from 14 to 15.5%, making it the third consecutive increase this year. And barely a week after the announcement, the exchange rate has declined further to 740 naira to 750 naira, but moderated to 730 naira to $1 on the black market on Wednesday, representing a 1.35% appreciation from the 740 naira to $1 recorded in the previous trading session. And analysts now say that traders have also lost faith in the official market and its current design and will only sell dollars when there is an absolute need to fund naira-related expenses in the country. And to other stories, the Food and Agriculture Organization is advising the leadership in the country to adopt smart technologies in the agriculture for better productivity. It made this known when a top delegation from its headquarters in Rome visited Nigeria to meet with the agricultural authorities, development partners, and other stakeholders in the agricultural sector. Our correspondent Lara Afolayan tells us more.
A top delegation from the Food and Agriculture Organization in Nigeria from its headquarters in Rome. They are meeting with the country's agricultural authorities, development partners, and other stakeholders in the industry on enhancing food security. They advised the country to embrace smart agricultural practices in line with global trends.
In the end is to make a difference in the life of those that are in the rural areas, mostly neglected. Smallholder, whether they are crop producers, whether they are fishers, whether they are pastoralists, or depending on forests for their livelihoods.
The mission of FAO is to support the efforts of member states in terms of achieving sustainable agricultural and food transformation.
The delegation reiterated the UN agency's commitment to helping build resilience of agriculture-based livelihoods in line with its strategic direction in agriculture food systems transformation for Africa.
And FAO contributes to the achievement of a number of SDGs, including on zero hunger, ending poverty, reducing inequality, among others. And our member countries, including Nigeria, they have been striving towards achieving these targets. And as I said, FAO has been supporting this effort together with other partners.
The FAO is the United Nations' largest specialized agency for combating global hunger and promoting rural development through provision of policy advice, relevant information, and technical expertise on food security, innovation, and natural resource management. The visit of the institution's top officials to Nigeria forms part of its efforts at assisting with boosting food security in the country. Lara Folayo, TVC News, Abuja.
Let's shift our attention now to global markets as Asian shares rose today as the dollar wobbled ahead of U.S. non-farm payrolls data and oil prices gained for a fourth day after deep production cuts pledged by OPEC Plus members. MSCI's Brothers Index of Asia-Pacific shares outside Japan rose at 0.7%, marking its third straight day of gains after a staggering 13% drop in September. And Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index also trimmed earlier losses to be off at 0.2% on the day, while mainland Chinese market remained closed for holidays. The S&P 500 futures rose at 0.5% and Nasdaq futures increased at 0.7%, building on a late rebound in U.S. stocks, which helped limit earlier losses. In currency markets, the U.S. dollar eased 0.3% against a basket of major currencies after climbing 0.7% overnight on hawkish comment from Fed officials. Europe is set to face an even more acute energy crunch next year after draining its natural gas tanks to get through the cold of this winter as the EU looks for ways to ease the crisis. In the region, European countries have filled storage tanks to around 90% of their capacity after Russia cut gas supplies in response to Western sanctions imposed over its invasion of Ukraine. Gas prices, which surged in the months after the invasion in February this year, have retreated. But that could be short-lived as countries compete to buy liquefied natural gas, LNG, and other alternatives to Russian pipelines deliveries. To help tackle the pain, the European Union is now considering a gas price gap, an issue that has divided this 27-nation bloc as some countries worry it could make securing supplies harder for Europe. Let's wrap things off here on the business desk as oil prices on the international market stabilized near the 3-week highs today after OPEC Plus agreed to further tighten global crude supply with a deal to slash production by about 2 million barrels per day, the largest reduction since 2020. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude recorded a downward price margin of 0.13% to sell at $87.65 per barrel. Brent crude futures sell for $93.26 per barrel, with a price decline of 0.12%. And Bonnie Light maintains its optic review of 1.60%, selling for $94.85 per barrel. And for the OPEC basket, crude oil dealers offer $94.05 per barrel, with an upward price margin of 2.08%.